I'm your host today, Matthew Corbin, and I am here with,
Taylor King, hi.
and we're going to talk about Taylor's recommendation for a relatively older manga made in the early 2000s, known as Nana. Do you have anything to say about Nana, Taylor?
I absolutely adore Nana. I originally found the anime adaptation whenever I was in middle school, and it's it's in the genre of josei, so it's geared more towards older teens, adult women. So I didn't really get all the aspects back then, but picking it up again years later, rereading it, rewatching everything, just really absorbing the story again gives me an even better appreciation for the writing more than ever.
Like usual, in this we'll be talking about like just the beginning. So I went ahead and I read the very first two chapters, which, might I say, they are very long chapters compared to other manga.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was very surprised when they were each over 100 pages.
Yes. The first volume really gets into our main two protagonists, Nana Komatsu and Nana Osaki.
So, of the two, do you have one that you say like you enjoy the most?
Um, I want to say originally at the beginning, I really do enjoy Nana Osaki, our more punk styled protagonist. I really enjoyed her a lot. Her story is just it's very uh sorry, I
Yeah, from what I've gotten from the two characters, I really like the punk rocker because I think the story it was a lot shorter compared to the other one, and it wasn't as run on. But the other Nana I do enjoyed more because I understand she's definitely the airhead like ditzy kind of protagonist that you expect in a lot of manga and anime and stuff.
really enjoyed Nana Osaki at the beginning because she's just cool. She looks cool, she acts cool. Her her romance in the story is just it's I thought she was just pretty. The whole story was pretty. It's kind of a hopeless kind of romantic kind it appeals to the hopeless romantic kind of people. Whereas Nana Komatsu, she really as time went on, she really kind of grown on me quite a bit. Mostly because you can like after a while you can kind of look past her little ditzy boy crazy kind of personality and get really down to her just her core worries, her wants in life, her struggles. She's the one in the end that I truly adored.
Yeah, she definitely just caught me off guard. Like I wasn't expecting the whole kind of what happens with the married guy and everything. That caught me way off guard. I do know I really enjoyed at the end of her first section. She went and worked at the places of one of the people that she fell in love with at first. I thought that was pretty amusing in my own taste. So do you have anything of like the first two volumes that is like sticks out to you as like the best thing of what you read?
I had to really think about that. The first two volumes, I if I think about it, I honestly not Nanakomatsu, our little airhead, her story about her run-in, her escapades with this married older man while she was only 17 really got me engrossed into the manga initially because it's just like, oh, she's just so young. She doesn't know what she's getting into. She doesn't know better, you know. And this older man, he's completely taking advantage of her, but she she doesn't know better. She's only ever like wanted a boyfriend being at a all girls high school. She doesn't run into many boys her age. So when she runs into this man, she falls head over heels because he gives her attention that she just hasn't gotten before. And so she just falls head over heels for him and just gets caught up in that. She doesn't realize that she's hurting herself, he's hurting her. And seeing her realize that and kind of parse through her personal traumas from that, I thought was pretty impactful. I think a lot of like older teen girls should kind of read that and kind of take note from that, because I know there's a lot of girls out there who go a little boy crazy and they get way in over their heads and grasp onto attention from people that aren't worth it and can only hurt them in the end. So I really liked that part of the first volume.
Yeah, I really enjoyed when she like finally when she met up with
Oh
again,
yeah,
you know, later towards the
chance
end of the
encounter.
that chapter. I really enjoyed how she like finally like realized like she needed to stop just being a someone who needed someone in her life, that she kind of had to somewhat be
Yes.
herself. It was very nice seeing her grow up that way. I do know one thing that I really wasn't too happy about was at the end of Volume One, because I think not Volume One, Chapter One. I think Chapter Two ended very well. It had like a good start, middle, end. It was very climactic. There's a few
Hmm.
parts that I wasn't a fan of, but with Chapter One, I was very off put by the end of it, with the whole that guy
Yeah,
Shoji, I
The
think it
the
is, maybe, yeah, he's gonna
yeah,
do something.
yeah, Shoji, as you go down and read more in of the story, you'll find out, spoiler, he's not the he is a good guy, but he's not the best guy. He does very foolish things and hurts others for it, hurts himself, hurts her, and I feel like that kind of shows how emotionally immature he is, and Nana too at the time. So it kind of builds up into that little character arc of his later on. And should I talk about later stuff that's like later on?
No, if we can come back to this at another point.
But
Let's not talk
just
too
overall,
spoilers
it
right now.
just
So, if we end up doing
okay.
a
Well,
part
overall,
two, we'll
it just
come
kind of
back.
shows how emotionally immature he is and how he's not kind of versed in like relationships with, especially with the kind of girl that Nana Komatsu is, who deep down needs someone else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she definitely needs
she
guidance.
definitely needs guidance into independence, which this is a lot of this. The first part is just helping Nana lead herself, take charge towards her own independence. So she's not relying on men. She's not relying on Shoji to help her survive the big city after being a little country girl most of her life.
Yeah, I definitely think Volume One, there was a few things they could have fixed that I would have been more happy about. Or Chapter One, I keep saying volume. Chapter Two, the only thing that I wasn't happy about was they sit there and they're talking about, if you have a kid, it's okay, I'll take care of it. And then he immediately said, "Oh, hey, I'm leaving." Like there was no, but I kind of understood why, but I felt like there was no closure there. But I think the way they did it, it definitely works. It was just I
Yeah.
personally didn't like it.
See, I totally understand. I totally understand. Like, I see it this way. The difference between Nanokomatsu and Nanosaki is that Nanokomatsu she's a very dependent personality. She wants she to cling on to others for like normalcy, for guidance. Whereas Nanosaki, she grew up with pretty much being on her own. She had to grow up at a very young age, being dropped off at her grandma at like what was it again? like
Oh
8
yeah, it
years
was
old.
shortly after she was born. Like she was born, and it was old enough that she could remember. So yeah, it was probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah. So she was dropped off by her mom at her grandma's because her mom just wanted to run off and do whatever she wants without being, anchored down by a child, and it no fault of her own, but she had to take care of herself from a very young age. And a grandmother, she's older, she's still at that age where she'll have to work for a living and everything. There's no like pension or anything for her at this point. So a sudden child just being dropped on her out of nowhere after her own daughter's been out of the house for years causes a lot of struggle financially. So it kind of leaves Nana Osaki to kind of care for herself
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. So she has that independent personality. She doesn't want to put herself in a situation where she feels like she'll be stuck and not be able to achieve what she wants to. So I feel like Ren, her boyfriend, is giving her that chance, that choice. It's like, if you get pregnant, I will take care of it, but it's up to you.
Yeah.
You know, I will take care of you regardless because I love you, but it's up to you, and I never want to limit you. He is the kind of man who doesn't want to chain
Oh yeah, he's
Nana
not trying to
down.
control her at all, and I really did enjoy that. Compared to the other one, it's because the other one definitely the guy seemed like he was just controlling her, but in this one, it's definitely she's more free.
She's definitely more free, but you see as the chapter goes on, she hears from Nobu, the one of the guitarists in her band Black Stones. Hey Nana, are you just gonna let Ren run away? Why aren't you telling him to stay? Why don't you go to Tokyo with him? And she's just like, damn it, Nobu. I didn't want to hear this from you. So deep down, she wanted to hear this from Ren, but she knows he would never do that
Mm-hmm.
to her.
Well, is it that I thought it said that Nana didn't want him to say it because what she should have said to Ren.
Uh, uh, what was that again?
I
I'm
thought the
sorry.
way that they did it is he sits and starts telling her, "Hey, why don't you tell Ren that he should stay and blah blah blah," or that he thinks Nana should stay. Nana in like her inner monologue is like, "I don't want to hear this from you. This is what I should be telling Ren that she was too scared to say because she doesn't want Ren to go."
I, you know what? I don't. I already forgot as soon as
I mean, I definitely could have read it wrong. That is definitely a possibility. But thank you for your time today. We're about out of time, so
yeah.
it's
Oops.
fine. My last few questions are, in terms of story, what would you rate this out of 10? Like for anyone else that would be wanting to read it.
In terms of story, well, there's one unfortunate thing about Nana is that it has been on hiatus for over a decade at this point. A long time ago, Aizawa, I think it was during one of the tsunamis that happened in Japan, she got incredibly sick. And so she had to put down serialization for a while. And from there, just nothing came about. She hasn't updated it for quite a long time. There's been kind of hints maybe she's gonna pick it up again, but for now the manga will always be kind of on hold. But we do have a anime adaptation that has its own kind of stopping point. It still leaves you wanting more, unfortunately, but it's still the story is so worth reading. I personally give it a 7 out of 10, mostly for the fact I'm not sure if it's ever going to be finished. but it is a story worth reading, and there's a lot you can take away from it, especially if you're a woman in between 18 and 30. You get a really great appreciation for some of the uh, topics, the the deeper, harder topics like pregnancy, sex, drug problems, uh, delinquent children. It's there's a lot of rough topics in Nana, and I feel like Aizawa handles it very, very, very well.
Yeah. I can personally say from what I have read of it, which is only the first volume and the weird chapter 0 that's about other characters that I read on accident. Um, I can
Yes.
personally say so far I think it is a solid 6, moving on towards a 7. I haven't read any more of it. If I end up reading more, my opinions may change. I can definitely agree that they do have some very harsh themes that are in the show comparatively, or in the manga, and comparatively to other manga and stuff that are like Joseis. Um,
Oh yeah, I feel like it's very realistic depictions of an adult, like going from teen to adult, trying to make it on your
mhm.
own.
I do really think in terms of art, I give the art a solid 8. There's a lot of like black and heavy tones to the color, which kind of put me off, but then some of them also make them really nice. So I've definitely seen
Her
better artwork, but I think it's definitely one of the best in terms of mangas that I have seen.
Oh yeah, Ayazawa has a very distinct art style, especially coming from her previous manga, Paradise Kiss, which is only 5 volumes. But uh, she is very big into like high fashion, so it really leaks into her character designs. Uh, she really uses a lot of framing in her panels to kind of show off some of like how she draws
The
clothes
framing
and
was done
how
very well.
it wraps around the. Oh yeah, and her art style, her lining style is very beautiful. Like the way she draws hair, I don't know how she's done over 40 volumes of manga with just this sheer amount of detail work that goes into the hair, clothing patterns. It's just great to see characters in not just one set clothing like a cartoon typically.
Hmm.
It's nice to see variations in styles and still have the characters incredibly recognizable.